Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is going to be my first time recording a video for myself. I'm looking to start a channel talking about living in a van and living very frugally. Frugally as in spending as little money as possible. The philosophy here for me for a while has been not making more money, but needing less. And so I've decided over the last few years of my life to not have a cell phone, not pay for my toilet paper. I just steal it from, Starbucks or whatever. I've been cutting my own hair for 7 years. It probably shows. Yeah, so just things like that, and they all add up. So the cell phone bill is a really big one for me. I don't know, I haven't had a cell phone in 7 years, so I don't remember what I paid for it, but I know it was over $50 a month. And that's, not a lot of money considering what a cell phone gives you, but it is money. And I find living in the city, I'm in Toronto, Ontario, I find that it's not completely necessary because Wi-Fi can be found at every corner. Tim Hortons, McDonald's, Starbucks, a school, a gym, a library. And so when you're in the city, you don't need a cell phone. So all I have, a lot of people think I have a cell phone, but it's just an iPod Touch, 5th generation. And so I can get my Facebook app and Snapchat. I don't Snapchat, but Instagram. And you can even get texting apps for it, right? So, so I have like a phone number and I can even call things. I just need Wi-Fi. But here in the city, getting Wi-Fi for free, or even, paying $3 for a coffee at a coffee shop is not a problem. So, that's kind of my philosophy, is trying to get away with spending as little as possible. And then that opens up your time, which time to me is more valuable than money, right? You can always get more money. You can never get more time unless I guess you believe in reincarnation, but anyway, but you know what I mean. So it seems to me like the options are, work like crazy while you're young, so you have money when you're older, but when you're older you have no energy, or not work when you're young and then have no money when you're older and then die poor, or you know what I mean. Die poor. So my strategy is to spend more time because I don't need as much money. If I don't need as much money at this point in my life, then I can spend more time doing things that I like walking on the beach or hanging out with friends or going for bike rides or whatever I like doing. Yeah, and so when you have more time, you have more money, and you're young, I don't know, I just think that's the route to go. I probably didn't really explain that clearly enough. Maybe in the future I'll give it another shot, but this channel is mainly going to be about living in a van, aka van life, right? I'm sure you've seen that tag around, pretty popular now. And also, though, an alternative lifestyle, the way I make money, where I can make my own hours. I'll just tell you, it's dumpster diving. So, scrapping metal, finding reusable items that I can keep, and therefore I'll factor in the value that I didn't have to spend on those. Items that are in good condition, but I don't need, so I'll sell those, online or out of the van or whatever. Here in Ontario and Canada, we have a bottle buyback program for beer bottles and beer cans. They're worth 10 and 20 cents a piece, 20 cents if they're over 750 milliliters. So those things are like my main income in my off season. So because I work seasonally, I do camps in the summer and I work at ice rinks in the winter. But in between those seasons, I like to dumpster dive for money. And I say that I like to because I genuinely like to do it. I enjoy doing it, and the fact that I can make money doing it is amazing. What I do is I bike around. I have a bike. It's not with me right now. I gotta go get it when it warms up a bit more. It's still late March right now, and it's in the van it's 15 degrees Celsius, but out there it's blowing pretty hard. It's like 4. It's not comfortable to bike in, is what I'm getting at. Anyway, so my bike, it has a Rubbermaid tote bin on the front and 2 on the back, technically. And what I do is I just bike around in highly populated areas, which is pretty easy to find here in Toronto / Etobicoke, whatever you want to call it. And I just search garbages for scrap metal, empties, things I can sell on Kijiji or you know, I haven't gotten into eBay yet or Amazon. I've been doing that in my off season for the last 2 years, and I've been keeping track of how much money I make doing it, and I've been also tracking the amount of time I put into it so that I can get an idea of what I'm making an hour. And on probably my worst month, I think I made like $15 an hour, which is still better than minimum wage here in Ontario, which is $14 an hour right now. And on my best months, I've made close to $27, $28 an hour. Before you think I'm rich, I told you I don't like to spend a lot of time working, and even though that working is a lot of fun, I don't want to go out biking and scrapping every day. So that's only working like 40 hours a month, not a week, 40 hours a month. So, you know, that's like a quarter of full-time, quarter time that I'm working. But I've still made enough money to buy my own food, you know, pay my rent, and all my other expenses. But back on the topic of saving money, such as cutting my own hair and stealing toilet paper and not having a cell phone and all that fun stuff, I figured my next biggest, probably most people's biggest expense in life is rent. And I had pretty good rent, pretty cheap rent for the last 2 years where I was living, but it's still my biggest expense. And I thought, well, there's got to be a way I can get rid of that, right? And I don't know why, but I've always had some sort of infatuation with trying to be homeless. It's like the idea of self-sustaining and it being freezing cold out or just some, you know, or whatever, raining, and you can take shelter and take care of yourself without a home. It's just a kind of cool idea to me for whatever reason. As a background, I've thought that would be a fun kind of adventure, and I have spent some nights on the sidewalk just for fun, testing that out, or in some bushes in a park. And to get rid of rent, I decided, well, let's buy a van. I don't know how I got into the whole van life community, like reading about it, watching videos about it, but I did, and I'm really glad I did. I moved out of my place 21 days ago. It's March 21st right now. I moved into my van, so this is still the very early stages of me living in a van, and I wish I could have caught more of the, you know, initial moving in things. I got a long way to still go to set up my van properly. And I do have a very, very, very small, unique van. Maybe in the future I might need a bigger van, especially if I'm going to be scrapping metal out of it. Now my rent is essentially my insurance, which is significantly cheaper than any rent I will be paying around here. So that's another expense cut. And yeah, so this channel is going to be kind of documenting why living in a van's good, the pros, the cons. You know, you've probably seen lots of videos about the pros and cons, but I'm going to give my take on it, while also living a strange life of dumpster diving. A lot of people that do live in vans still work on their computers, doing, I don't know what they do, digital drawing something, I don't know. They do computer work out of their van, I know that a lot of people do. Or they just work a regular job while living in a van. And for me, I initially wanted to go on a road trip from where I am in Toronto, Ontario, down to Florida, across to California, and then back up to, you know, maybe BC or whatever, and then back across. And I was going to do that this year, but the way things lined up, I got my van way later than I expected, and then my idea was to avoid the winter, and now winter's pretty much over. It actually technically is the first day of spring now, though it's still a little cool out. I can work when I want, I can not work when I don't want to. I make decent money, and it's like modern day treasure hunting. It is super fun. Like, you go out, you check these dumpsters, you never know what you're gonna find. It's really exciting for me anyway. For, I don't know, I have a big sense of adventure, and you know, in the middle of dumpster diving, you know, maybe I see an abandoned building and I want to go explore it. Like if I was working a normal job, I couldn't. I'd have to wait till my break, or I'd have to wait till I'm off work, and then I could go check it out after work. But if I'm working for myself like this, I can just go do, I can, you know, stop working for an hour or two and then get back to it if I want to, you know. Very free, fits in strongly with the van life mentality of freedom and breaking the mold from normal societal living. So this channel is also going to be kind of dedicated to show how you, the viewer, can also live like this. I'm going to try to give tips and show exactly how I do what I do. Try to show the money you can make to live for yourself. Show you the time you can have free for yourself. My winter job just finished a few days ago, and so now I'm going to be unemployed until my summer job starts up, which is not until July. Quite a whiles away. What is it? March, April, May, June. So yeah, like, you know, three and a half months. And it's still not quite warm enough for me to comfortably go dumpster diving. I'd like to be in a t-shirt and shorts when I do it. Maybe 12 degrees Celsius, which would be 55 degrees Fahrenheit. It's warmer than that here in the van right now, but I'd like it to be that warm outside with the sun and everything. You know, I just like to be comfortable. I'm out biking. I don't want to... It's a pain in the butt to bike and have your parts that are exposed freezing cold and have your torso and legs and everything boiling hot because you're pedaling. So I can deal with being hot, I can deal with being cold, but I can't deal with being both at the same time. So that's why I'm not doing it yet. And now I just have free time. I'm gonna try to spend a lot of time starting this channel, getting the van set up a bit better here, and you know, hanging out with some friends that I haven't seen in a while. So I'm just gonna show what I do and what I don't like about living in a van, what I would change, and also, of course, you know, one of the main reasons I got into the dumpster diving is I didn't like, I had a few jobs that I liked, and I have a seasonal job that I really quite like, but even those aren't things I want to do every day. The way I dumpster dive is I go out on my bike and I just bike. I don't know why. I'm sorry. Go out on my bike and I just bike for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. You know, I can go out for as long or as short as I want. I can go out on a nice day. I can stay in the van on a crappy day. This is what the inside of the van looks like. I know it looks like a mess right now. Just because there's a big blanket, really. And like I said, this is still the early stages of van life. So I wanted you guys to be here for this. I wanted you to see the trials and getting into it, because I think that's an important part to share for anybody else who's trying to get into van life. I'll show you around the outside now. So the van I drive is called a Subaru Sambar. It's a Japanese import K-van. Very tiny in comparison. I know that Jeep behind me, that's a poor comparison, but anyway, it's very small. It weighs less than a Mazda Miata, close to the same weight as let's do the wrap around and then we'll get back inside for the talking. See, and this is what you can enjoy when you're in van life, you know? Being out here near this abandoned building, near the water, it's nice. I'll get back inside where it's less windy and maybe you'll be able to hear me better. Yeah. Okay. So that's the van. It's called a Subaru Sambar. It's a 1996. I got it with 87,000 kilometers on February 1st, so I've had it for just about 2 months. I've put 3,000 kilometers on it already because driving it is super fun. It's like a little go-kart mixed with a bus. Weighs less than a Mazda Miata, about the same amount as a smart car. I've probably got four to five times the amount of space as a smart car. The reason I went with this van is I wanted something fuel efficient. I love going for drives, and I don't want to, every time I get in my car, feel like I'm just draining my wallet. You know, back to my frugal lifestyle. And so this car, I was told, you know, I read a lot about it on the internet and everything about these little Japanese vans getting 35 to 50 miles per gallon. I don't know how, because that's not what I've been getting at all. I've been measuring mine since day one, and I average about, what is it, 25 to 28 miles per gallon, which is pretty good for something big enough to live in / lay down in. But it's nowhere near what everything on the internet was telling me. Maybe the warm weather will make me more fuel efficient and expand my gas a little bit. Maybe if I got higher quality gas. It is manual, so maybe if I coast more. The fuel efficiency is probably one of the best for a vehicle that can be considered a van, because of how small it is. It's been enough for me to live in it for the last 21 days. The back area is 6 feet long by 4 feet wide by 4 feet tall. So if you're under 6 feet, which I am, I'm 5'10", you can fit in it pretty comfortably without your feet or head touching anything. Oh, and yeah, it is a right-hand drive. In Canada, we do normally have the left-hand drive, but it's a Japanese import, so it's right-hand, which is fine. This van catches a lot of attention, as I'm sure you can imagine. As far as I know, there's only 4 of them in Toronto, so it's kind of neat for, you know, people just want to talk to you about it, and it's kind of cool for making friends, which is a plus in my opinion, especially if I'm going to be doing that road trip down to California, which was one of the ideas I wanted to film. I'm not going to be doing that until November now, so that's quite far away now, but I will be, you know, this channel will still be for how to live in a van just in your hometown, because that's what I've been doing and that's what I will be doing, and also how to live and make money scrapping metal and dumpster diving and stuff like that. So